Derby County head to the Riverside on Saturday afternoon with a huge game in the EFL Championship. Both teams are attacking those playoff positions and both teams are not far away from the automatic promotion places. It's going to be a huge game for both Derby County and Middlesbrough as they look to continue their charge for the promotion positions. But who is going to come out on top on this one, and why is it going to be Derby County? Now this is the Derby Digest. We're taking a look at Derby County's travel to Middlesbrough. We're going to take a look at all the danger men. We're going to look at the league table and exactly what Derby County need to expect. So if you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. But let's get into it. Now obviously for Derby County, they face a huge challenge this weekend and probably their biggest challenge since earlier in the season when they faced up against the likes of Coventry City, Stoke City and the likes of Ipswich Town. But this is a huge game for Derby County. Now if we look at the top goal scorers for both teams, Derby County's top goal scorer, Carlton Morris, he's set to miss out on football up until around February, March time, whereas Morgan Whittaker, who only has 4 goals and 2 assists this season, is leading the way for Middlesbrough. Now, we obviously take a look at a little bit of the insights for Middlesbrough. 6 goals in their last 5, but haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 6 games. But Middlesbrough and Derby have not drawn any of their last 3 games against each other. But how is this one going to go? Derby have scored 11 in their last 5, but they've conceded the most penalties. So Joe Ward, watch your feet. Do not be diving inside the box. And we also haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 games. Now, the recent form for both teams has been fairly decent, especially for Derby County. It's 6 wins in 7 for them, and realistically it should be 7 in 7, but the drop to Watford was disappointing. You look then at Middlesbrough, it's 2 draws, 1 win and 2 defeats. Can Derby County make that 3rd defeat for Middlesbrough? Now, if we take a little bit of a deeper look at both of these two sides, we look at the last starting 11 for that of Middlesbrough. Obviously, they were defeated 4-2 by Coventry City in midweek. It was a brilliant game for Coventry fans who extend their lead to 10 points at the top of the table. But you look at Derby County and this game against Middlesbrough and how big could this one be? They started off with brilliant goal, a back 4 of Britton, Ayling, Jones and Silvera, a midfield 3 of Brown, Morris and Hackney, and a front 3 of Whittaker, McGee and Conway. This 4-2-3-1 is a very common setup among the Championship at the moment, and it's one which certainly could have an impact. Now, Derby County have got to be very careful with this one. I think if you've watched Derby County over the course of the last few months, you'll know that there's been a lot of space through the lines in the middle of the park, and as much as Ibu Adams and Bobby Clark cover a tremendous amount of ground, there's a lot of work still to do in that position for me. And ultimately, I think Derby County are maybe lacking a number in there, but we don't want to go away from the back 3. The front 3 is working very, very well, so we're sort of in a weird position at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see how Derby County can back the likes of Hayden Hackney, Alan Brown. You look at Morris as well in the middle of the park. It's going to be very, very interesting. Now, the most important thing for Derby County for me is keeping the Middlesbrough wingers as far back as possible, and that is going to be something that is going to fall on the likes of Callum Elder and Joe Ward as we head into this weekend. They're going to be the ones that have to sort of control that basis for me. Now, there is a lot of discussion heading into this one about Derby County, and as we look at their starting 11 from their 2-1 victory over Swansea, obviously Zetterstrom in goal, a back 3 of Clark, Bart and Langas, a midfield 4 of Elder, Adams, Clark and Ward, and a front 3 of Selverson, Diaz and Ajimang. Now, I'm not entirely sure why, but Ajimang played off the right for the most part during the game versus Swansea, Diaz off the left, and I have to say I thought it was Diaz's best game for Derby County. He was beating 3-4 men, getting into really good positions, and I think if we're completely honest with each other, he could have had a hat-trick on Tuesday night, which is, it's disappointing that he didn't, but we can see that he's building that confidence and he's finally starting to find his rhythm. Now, Lars Jørgen Selverson stepped in for Carlton Morris and not a footstep was missed. Scored a goal, which was a brilliant finish as well, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, make sure you do go and check it out. The ball drops to him on the edge of the box. He takes a touch on his left foot into the top corner. Brilliant, brilliant finish. Keeper had no chance. And we have to talk about Joe Ward when we're talking about Derby County, because Joe Ward has been absolutely exceptional over the course of the last few weeks. I think he's played 5 or 6 games since Max Johnston got injured, and I'm pretty sure he's got 5 goals and assists across the course of that basis, which is absolutely unreal. He's been very, very good. Now, we have to give some praise to Danny Bart as well. He stepped in for Dion Sanderson in midweek, who was suspended, and honestly, I think the best part about it was I didn't really have to mention him. I did a live watch along. There was a couple of technical issues, so there's like 3 or 4 different streams that will be out on the channel. But it's one of those situations where I didn't really have to mention him. I wasn't too worried about him. He did a lot of really good work, did Danny Bart. However, I don't think he's going to continue in that position. I do think Sanderson will slot straight back in, but we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. Now, obviously, we need to look at those injuries. Both teams have a fair few. Obviously, Derby County are expected to miss Carlton Morris for the next 2 or 3 months. David Ozo is out until the end of December. You've got Lewis Travis, who's still out. Max Johnston is back on the grass, which is massively important. Owen Beck has returned to Liverpool, and Ryan Brewster is currently out as well. If we look at the Middlesbrough situation, Kante is out with a groin injury, no return date noted for him. Morris is out until mid-December. However, he played in midweek, so we might be a-okay. Fry is out till early December. Lenihan is out till December. Strelic is doubtful with a muscle injury. Edmondson has a hip injury, and Dieng is out with an Achilles tendon injury, which will see him out until January. Now, obviously, I want to give a big shout out to, Curtis Nelson, who over the course of the last few months was obviously told that he wasn't going to be registered in the squad towards the back end of the summer transfer window so that he could focus on his recovery. He's played a couple of games for the 21s. I think he played 45, 2 hours and a 90. Which is brilliant, and he's been re-registered now that Owen Beck has returned to Liverpool, and he was given the opportunity to be on the bench. And a little bit of shithousery at the end of the game versus Swansea, with him going out to warm up around the time they had a throw-in and was proper messing with their players, which was brilliant to see. And I think we have to give him a huge amount of praise. It's been 11 months since he was in a Derby County matchday squad, and he's I think he's done tremendous to be back within the group. I also want to give a bit of a shout out to Owen Eames. Owen Eames is an incredible young talent at Derby County. He's been in and around the group a fair bit since John Eustace has arrived. I think he was on the bench a couple of times towards the end of last season. I think even Paul Warne gave him a couple of opportunities as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how this one does develop with Owen Eames. Hopefully he does get himself an opportunity to play for the first team over the course of the next few months. But I'm going to be completely honest, I doubt it will be this weekend. Now let's take a look at the head-to-heads. Middlesbrough take the trumpet with this one. It's 11 wins to Derby, 7 wins, there's 6 draws in there as well. Last season, both teams took 3 points off each other, but we have to go back to February of 2021 before the last time Derby County beat them, if we don't include last year's. And we've got to be very, very careful with this one. Obviously, it's a little bit of a grudge match, this one, because of the situation with Steve Gibson and everything that went off there with Steve Gibson and Derby County. But that is something that is in the past. So let's take a look at the league table. Middlesbrough currently sit 3rd on 30 points. Derby County sits 7th on 26th. Obviously, Bristol City do have that game in hand. There's a couple of teams around them as well. You look at Millwall, you look at Birmingham, who could potentially rise above Derby should their game on Wednesday night, as of time of recording, it hasn't been played. They could rise above. Obviously, Ipswich could go ahead of Middlesbrough as well. So Derby County could fall as low as 10th. Middlesbrough could drop down to 4th. So it will be interesting to see what does happen with that one. But I think both teams are in fairly decent positions. Now, if we look at the home form, Middlesbrough, 8 games, 17 points. They find themselves 5th. If we look at the away form, Derby County are 4th, 14 points from 8 away games. They head into their 9th this weekend. Can they make it another win? That is going to be a big question. Now, you can obviously let me know your score predictions down in the comments. I will have a full predictions video for the EFL Championship. Round number, is it 18 now, that we're getting on to over on the EFL channel, which will be linked down in the description. So if you have not done so already, this has been the Derby Digest. Hit like, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.